Brian Schrader. Up there in the pre-stage B. Roll up alongside. Both cars going to tire shake simultaneously. And Brian Schrader coast on down at 5:02. 5:83 here from Matt. 3 cars so far in the beginning of the session have all chattered the tires.
So our next pair fire to life here underneath the tunnel at Virginia Motorsports Park. John Vergatz and Freddie Scriba. Scriba on the right-hand side out of Millersville, Maryland. The Sorcerer, 1969 Camaro with the Pat Musey horsepower underneath the hood scoop for Scriba welding. Freddie, always a threat when he shows up here to one of the PDRA Tour races. And John Vergatz, left side of the racetrack out of Erie, Pennsylvania. The A1 Automotive 69 Camaro. They call it the Dark Knight. Charlie Buck horsepower for Vergatz here left side, 959 cubic inches. John Vergatz for Camaro. We're on the starting line. He's driving. Long run around the East Coast. Down about 200 feet. Starts to see a lot of wheel speed. 450, 318 miles an hour. Clicks it off. John Vergatz had some issues earlier on into the run, as we've seen early on into the session. For Freddie, gets to the other end, like I said, 453, which is good enough for number one right now. Very early on into the session, and seeing a lot of heavy hitters still to come.
that'll bring out the Purvis Ford Mustang of Dane Wood out of Chesapeake, Virginia. 2012 model they call Escobar for Donnie and Julie Wilson, 660 Race Car Technologies, and affordable transmission. And Cam Clark on the right-hand side out of Regional, North Carolina, the Mark Engelone 69 Camaro for DNT Motorsports. Cumberland Farm and Auto, UC horsepower underneath the hood scoop of his hot rod.
So a tough way to start off qualifying here in the World Finals for Dane Wood and his team. Good team. Normally, every time they come to the starting line, go down the racetrack. Kind of failure, something cost Dane Wood being able to make the call here in the opening round of qualifying. Cam Clark. Him make some run. Pat Music powered Camaro. Fabricator out of North Carolina. Cam Clark goes out there, moves around down low. DNT Motorsports Chevrolet at 524.
Travis Harvey, the Carolina kid, pulls out on the left-hand side, the 2017 Corvette for Red Top Motorsports. Sonny's Racing Engines. And Chris Rini on the right-hand side out of Hickory, North Carolina, the Silver Bullet 69 Camaro for ATI Performance Products. Chris's Automotive, L&R Auto Sales, got Charlie Buck horsepower underneath the hood scoop of his machine. We've seen every machine that's tried to qualify here so far struggle. Very good racing surface here at Virginia Motorsports Park. Might be underestimating it just a little bit.
We've seen some teams struggle here early on into the opening qualifying session. Travis Chris Rini, about the best driver. Got him on the starting line. He's got his hands full this year between Pro Night, Pro Boost, Sun and Junior Drag, running big dog, you name it. But just so good behind the wheel of these race cars. And right on down the track, no problems. Look at the number for Travis. How about 3.692? 203 miles an hour. Travis Harvey lays down a run in the opening qualifying session. Chris Rini trails behind him. 377.5, 198. And they've gotten cars A to B to the other end.
Next pair out, Ed Burnley on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Pasadena, Maryland. The Ironman 1969 Camaro for Southwind Refrigeration. Pat Musey horsepower underneath the hood scoop for his machine. And Jim Widener out of Batesville, Indiana. The BES Racing 2017 Corvette for Widener Automotive, Induction Solutions, VP Race Tools, Holly, and Ross Pistons.
59.2. He's the top spot right now. Travis Harvey's laid that down. Jim Widener at Burnley. 2 race cars that are very capable of matching down a lot of time. Widener goes out and gets way crossed up. Ed Burnley has his own set of problems right alongside of him, and they are coasting silently down the 660-foot race course. Just after we seen 2 cars rocket down to the other end, still pull up and have the same issue. Chat of the tires and moving around.
So our next pair fired to life, Billy Albert left side. Out of Wytheville, Virginia, the El Chapo 1969 Camaro. Stan Nance owns that machine. Structural mechanical on board his hot rod. Mike Achenbach on the right-hand side. The deep purple 69 Camaro for the Mountain Man out of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania. Canvas Plus and MJA Installations. Fulton Power Plant underneath the hood scoop. And Schweitzer Dynamics. Achenbach having some issues there in the water box.
All right, so Mike Achenbach, Billy Albert. Let's see who goes to the other end here. Oh, great side-by-side drag race, and the Atomizer side scoreboard lights up at 371.8, 204 miles an hour. Mike Achenbach right to the other end of the racetrack, no problem whatsoever. And how about Billy Albert? By 1,000 of a second, he goes 371 with a 7. Going to be quicker there up to the number 2 spot here in qualifying. Good, respectable runs out of those teams.
Mintzer Motorsports Pro Street, presented by AFCO Racing. We need you for Q1, please. Mintzer Motorsports Pro Street, presented by AFCO Racing. We need you to the staging lanes for Q1. Our next pair, fire to life. And start to pull through the water box. Ricky Smith, left side of the racetrack out of King, North Carolina, the Parkway Ford 2022 model Mustang. PD Fleet, Boss Buddy, Stockseth Racing, at easy horsepower. And on the right-hand side, Jay Cox out of Smithfield, North Carolina, doing tricks in the burnout box. The Pumpkin. The Butner Construction, Smithfield Collision. Pat Musey horsepower underneath the hood scoop for him as well.
Ricky Smith. Chad over there on the left-hand side. makes this a clean A to B hit. Here in the qualifying session, Jay jumped out of here in the water box, backed up and didn't get in the water. Tried to burn out the second time, so he just comes to the starting line now. We've seen this happen before as far as the fact that went down. There was no issues A to B without a good burnout. Field collision. Under construction. Jay, great. Plans behind the wheel for a while. Ricky, 59 years old. Going after a world championship. Fought hard throughout this season. Oh, look at Jay's car. Got out of the gate a little bit, then it just started moving around and chatted the tires at 555. Ricky goes 372, 203 the speed for the Parkway Ford Mustang. So that's going to put Ricky up to the number 4 spot right now. Jay, after kind of a chaotic starting line ordeal, the car looked like it was going to get down until it reached about 100 feet out.
The two baddest hot rods in the category will pull up side by side here in Q1. Your defending world champion on the left side of the racetrack, Jim Halsey out of Havana Grace, Maryland. The Davin Sharp 1968 Camaro with the Fulton Power Plant, Schweitzer Dynamics, Purnell Body Shop, and Yellow Bullet Nationals on board his machine. The man who's been on a tear on the right-hand side, Tommy Franklin out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. The Jungle Rat 69 Camaro for Franklin Electric, SmartCom Home Technologies, Rogers Automotive. Pat Musi horsepower for Franklin on the right side. He's won the last 3 races on the tour, and now he's number 1 in points. Team has looked better than they have in probably 3 years on these last 3 races. And we've seen a little kink in the armor for Halsey, so hopefully we can get it figured out. Made some good test hits yesterday.
Only one driver has been into the 60s. That's Travis Harvey. So holds on to your top spot. So many teams have went out there and shook the tires. Let's see what Tommy Franklin and Jim Halsey's going to lay down. The two guys are just battling it out for that world championship. Comes down to this final race here at Virginia Motorsports Park this weekend. A very intense points battle between a guy going for his 5th consecutive world championship. How about that? Tommy Franklin, 365.7, 206 miles an hour. But Jim says, how about this? 364 with a 5, 205 miles an hour. Looked like one of them might have hurt the motor just a little bit at the other end, but Jim Halsey takes your top spot. And Tommy Franklin goes to number 2, Travis Harvey to 3, Billy Alberts 4, Mike Achenbach 5, Ricky Smith the 6th, Chris Reedy 7, Freddie Scriba rounds out your top 8 there in Pro Nitrous qualifying. And now it is time for our Pro Boost category.
So as Derek said, we move into WS Construction Pro Boost presented by P2 Contracting and Tie Drive. First machine out is going to be Isaias Rojas on the right side. San Juan, Puerto Rico, the MECTEC Institute 2019 Corvette for MECTEC College, Pro Line. Pro Line, Pro Charger, and Fuel Tech on board his machine. We've seen this car a couple times on tour this season. Very capable of getting the job done. A little testing for the World Cup coming up here in just a few weeks.
All-Star Motorsport Corvette. There's Rojas. Single run. Kick things off in US Construction Pro Boot. Qualifying today. Rosas Corvette. It's part of the Willie bar, makes a move to the left, and he clicks it immediately. 666, 59 miles an hour.
So Derek, 25 of these WS Construction Pro Boost machines on the property here at Virginia Motorsports Park for the Proline Pro Charger World Finals. Our next pair. Turbo Todd Moyer here on the left-hand side of the racetrack. That sleek blue Camaro. Only turbocharged entry in the category this weekend. Mike Decker Jr. on the right-hand side. Out of Woodstock, Maryland, the ISI Demolition 2023 Camaro. For Decker Salvage, Gil Mobley Motorsports, Ryo Motorsports, and Tie Drive.
Your attention out of the pit area, please. Attention to the pits. We're going to make our call for Extreme Pro Stock. Extreme Pro Stock, this is your first call to the staging lanes, please, for Q1. Extreme Pro Stock. Bring them on to the staging lanes. Right down. Todd Moyer. And then back Camaro. Here on the left side, some big numbers out of that race car in the recent weeks. Look at Todd Moyer. 225 miles an hour and 361.4 is going to be the elapsed time. 5:38.9. Decker has some issues and coast on through at only 92 miles an hour. But that is, I believe, a speed record in the category for Todd Moyer. 225.60 miles an hour. Got himself a very quick hot rod here at the World Finals.
Eric Donovan next up on the left-hand side, the Pontiac. The Capital Car Care. Tony Wilson, 63 split-window Corvette, made personal best runs here yesterday in testing. Corvette Nick Bevan ever has. Tommy Mooney built that machine. Ryo Motorsports on board. The Pro Charger on the Pontiac. Mere Concrete Solutions on board Wilson's machine. As well as Tony Wilson Hall.
All right, so Tony Wilson,
Absolutely. Very nice piece. And Aaron Donovan's got the Pontiac Firebird. Look at Wilson making some charge to the top end at 360.69, 206 miles an hour. Donovan's going to go 395 here at $190. Tony Wilson has really been working on the tune-up of that race car, and they are making progress each and every time that they go down the racetrack. Just did, I think, Piedmont, Big Dog Series there, and didn't run too bad today. It's still a learning curve, but we're getting this thing figured out.
And here comes Jay Santos on the left-hand side, the Santos Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro, and Mike Decker Jr. on the right-hand side out of Woodstock, Maryland. The big change, 2017 Camaro. Decker Salvage, tie drive, Y.O. Noonan. Both have the race cars on board his machine. Paint scheme there on Santos' machine, left side of the racetrack. Definitely hopping down for the bird of that look.
You hear Mike Decker over there. I believe it's that he's trying to build some heat in the Camaro. Jay Santos. I love that Yanko Camaro. Summit side. Both teams have running exceptionally well here at the second part of the season. Santos did some testing yesterday, decent runs, trying to have that roll over into today, especially here in the opening round of qualifying. Set. Here we go. Santos hard up on the Willie Bar. Car track to the left. He aborts the run. Mike Decker is going to go 371 with a 3 here at 206 miles an hour. The Woodstock, Maryland Chevrolet to the other end of the racetrack. That's going to put Decker at number 3. But Jay's car looking good. Push to the left, and I believe they even had a little tire chatter. Yeah, we're going to click it off and see you in Q2.
Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock, we've called you to the staging lanes. Pro Stock, we've called you. Chip King, left side of the racetrack out of Roxborough, North Carolina. The DreamWorks Motorsports 1971 Dodge Charger. For Carmack Engineering and Cole Racing. And Bubba Green on the right-hand side. Car Racing Engines on board his hot rod. Scotty Cannon doing the tuning. A legend. Scotty Cannon doing the tuning.
So you see Bubba Green's Corvette there, right-hand side. Tribute on the hood. In front of that race car, Scotty Cannon, Chip King. Yep. Is that Darlington? Live and down here. And Motorsports Charger. No slouch. Qualified. You'll have a car. I can assure you there's no guy right behind you. Scotty Cannon. Hard. Bubba's doing a good job driving. And horsepower apart racing engine stable. Them on the race, the national event tour. They are making progress. There's
set, three fires. How about Bubba Green going to the top end under full power? Chip King's right behind him. 371 with a 4, 197 the speed for Bubba Green. Chip stops the clock 372.8 at 204. So that's going to put Bubba number 4. Chip goes to number 5 here in qualifying right now.
So next up, out of Baltimore, Maryland, Tommy Gray, the Undertaker Corvette here on the left-hand side, and Joel Winsley out of Brooklyn, Michigan. The mechanical heating and cooling 2017 Camaro for Liberty's Gears, and Joel made some impressive laps yesterday in testing. Tommy Gray had some issues when he came up to test, but Winsley making some great A to B hits here yesterday.
Undertaker Corvette, Tommy Gray. The starting line, Summit side right now. Joel Winsley to bring to the table. Michigan-based Camaro. Track there at 369, but Joel Winsley, look at the number on the right-hand side, 3.669, 206 the speed. So that's going to be good enough for number 2 right now. Tommy Gray assumes the number 4 spot here in qualifying. You see those cars make clean hits. Actually, we've seen a few cars struggle, but getting a hold of the racetrack and the tune-up for these race cars. Go to the other end.
And that'll bring up James Beadling here on the left-hand side at Olmsted Falls, Ohio, Kelling Equipment, SSI Industries 2018 Camaro. And Chuck Alsh on the right-hand side out of Mount Airy, Maryland. That Line Oil 68 Camaro for Brian Roche Racing Engines. Brad Anderson Engineering and Hammer Superchargers.
Beadling and hold on Chuck Alsh. He's doing a lot of driving out there. Chuck didn't want to give up. 371 with a 1, 204 miles an hour. He was 17 going by the tree. Alsh's Camaro Pushed over there to the right-hand side, but he legged it to the end to get it to the number 5 spot. Beetling goes out there and nearly shakes the back window out of his Chevrolet Camaro. So Beetling, bottom half of the field right now. He'll come back and make a good run at Q2. We've seen some big numbers out of Spencer Hyde's Camaro. Jack in the green stock Chevrolet rolls through the burnout box, right side, out of Stratford, Ontario, Canada. William Brown the third, Blue Magic 69, first gen Camaro there, left-hand side. Proline Racing and Fuel Tech. William Brown. Tested yesterday. Talked about Spencer Hyde yesterday with 60 flat in testing. That was a big number. Career best the last time. You're Spencer Hyde, you're just hoping. Kind of goes into today's qualifying session. Spencer Hyde lay down that run. He would be number 1 right now. Brown, you can literally dial that Camaro in yesterday in testing. With 363, 363, and 363. 3 runs, all the same. A lot of gas, too. Look at Spencer Hyde out there, 364.7. Get down, 206 miles an hour for Jack of the Green Stock entry, 367.205 trailing for William Brown. That's going to be good enough for number 2 for Spencer. Brown goes to number 5. Good runs out of both race teams. Brown slows up 400ths from yesterday. Spencer did the same. They're putting tune-ups in these cars that's safe. Go down the racetrack, gather data, especially with the incoming threat of weather. Try to get the car down the racetrack as long as they qualify.
So that'll bring up Dustin Nezone here on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Orangeburg, Texas. The Galot Motorsports 2022 Camaro for Proline. Of course, pressure control on the right-hand side. Joe Albright, the West Babylon, New York, the Fletcher Coxo 1969 Camaro. For Cox Racing, DeSoma Race Engines, Shady Trail Ranch, Pro Charger, VP Race Fuels, and Glass Life Atlanta.
Nezone, Joe Albright. Right to the other end at 362.6. 207 miles an hour for Galot Motorsports and Dustin Nezone. 367.4, 205 miles an hour for Joe and Fletcher Cox's machine. That is going to be good enough for number 7, but Nezone took a shot at the top spot, came up about 100th of a second short. 12 thousandths to be exact.
our next pair, Randy Weatherford on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Danville, Virginia. The WS Construction 2021 Camaro for Proline, Pro Charge, and Fuel Tech. Scott Wilgus on the right-hand side out of Sebringville, Ontario, Canada for Smokey's Garage, the 2019 Camaro. Remax, Clark Construction, and Fraser Asphalt on board Wilgus machine on the right side.
Heavy hitters start to emerge in the category. Go to the racetrack and lay down some runs now. Randy Weatherford, Scott Wilder. Two race teams on the starting line, very capable of taking over that top spot. Talks about it a lot. I don't know if we've seen Wilgus and his team. They have worked for that. It wasn't an overnight change that they did. A lot of time and effort, R&D, testing. It has paid off in the Smokey's Garage Camaro. And there's another side-by-side drag race, and it's going to be Randy Weatherford at 364.8. Seen Wilgus throw the chutes a little early down there, and he slows to a 374 elapsed time at only 185 miles an hour. Randy Weatherford will take the WS Construction Camaro and put it in the number 4 spot here in qualifying for right now. It's kind of where we've seen teams run around 364 number. Well, that's a solid lap time to get to the other end and get him in the field. It's a starting point, to say the least.
That'll bring out Scott Lang on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Back-to-back wins here on the PDRA Tour coming into this event. Lang out of Charlotte, North Carolina, the DNT Motorsports KA13 Pro Line Fuel Tech Hot Rod with Lee White doing the tuning.
Yeah, Scott Lang's second half of the season, like that the first half, he'd be contending for a world championship.
Well, we had him on PDRA Live this week, and he told us that before he sat in the car at Galat, the fastest he'd ever been was a 4 flat. So
now he's won
360. Yeah. So I mean,
it's a bit of a change.
Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it is. And on the left-hand side, your world record holder in the category, Melanie Salemi out of Buffalo, New York, the Purple Rain Side Piece 2019 Camaro, Raleigh installations, Liberty's Gears, Quick Drive, and Doom Race Engineering.
You know, you think about something. Scott Lang is going up against drivers that have, run behind the wheel of these cars. You think, competing in program booster mini, modified car, and they're just, new. So, a new routine for Scott Lang at the beginning of the season, and I think he is.
Well, 100. Go through the curve. Doing some things that he should have been doing. So, definitely eating with Fuel Tech winning. So far, looking for the 3.
Qualifying is in this class, how tight it is going into race day and each and every one of our national events. So it's a true testament how Scott Lang has ran the last 2 races. Very, very strong. So
Melanie yesterday went a 3:59 in testing, was low for the day. So can she repeat that right here and go to the top spot?
got some cloud cover. Go to the racetrack. Nice. Cool. Car is just so violent down low for Melanie. They are very aggressive early on into the run. 60-foot number. Got that Camaro. Scott Lang's out of power, and Melanie. Good clean run for that team at 364, 207 the speed. He was 048 up front. Scott Lang was 914 down low. If he would have got to the other end, it would have been a great run. Potentially going to number 1, but Melanie will assume the number 3 spot here. We have 3 drivers that all went 364 something.
So that'll bring out Ken Cortucci on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Wallingford, Connecticut. The serial killer, 69 Camaro, we call Chop, Cut, and Rebuild. Eastside Auto Transport, Proline, Mincer, M&M, Carmack, all on board his machine. And Kurt Steady, the P2 Hot Rod here on the left side of the racetrack out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. For Tire Drive, P2 Paving, NGK, and YO Motorsports. Gotta go quicker. Did a 1-4 to take over the number 1. Both of these machines very capable of getting the job done.
Setting in Ken Cortucci. Run off right here. Definitely see P2 contracting team want to swing for it. Going to go to number 1. Todd Moyer gone to that spot, 361 for 205.60 miles an hour. I mean, he's only got 20 mile an hour on everybody else in the category. Pulls into the top end. How about 369.2 to the 364.3 for Ken. 203 the speed for Ken Cortucci, who was 10 up front. Kurt was no slouch. He was 019 green. Kurt setting down there to number 11. Other car go 364 something. That's kind of seems to be the number that so many teams are going after right now. Takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. 64. Next up.
Travis Harvey, Jason Harris. Looks like Travis's machine not firing underneath the tower.
You've talked about this season, a guy that, I don't know what is going on, but Travis has had some terrible luck with cars wanting to fire it up. I mean, man, oh man.
Yeah, even
That
with
is
the Pro Nitrous
Yeah.
machine.
First
Struggle
it was
with
a Pro
that.
Nitrous car, and anyway, we talked about it a lot where, they struggle with the Pro Nitrous car, getting it to fire up. They said, we started this thing 5 times back in the pits, fired up every single time. Came to this ready line, wouldn't fire. Go back to the pit area,
Fires right up,
Yep.
yeah.
So, just crazy. Here the car tried to fire under the tower. Started to come to life, and then it shut off again. They still have a little bit of time if they're going to make the call. But it's going to have to be a very short burnout and right to the starting line.
So Jason Harris, right side of the racetrack out of Pittsburgh, North Carolina, the Party Time Machine, owned by Jack Gaddy. Performance Auto, Sometime Racing, Hoosier Racing Tire, and Jason Harris should be your Pro Boost World Champion this season.
Well, yeah, it was the number 1 and 2 in the points that we're going to face off here in qualifying,
Right.
towards the end of the session. And that's a tough break for Travis. Jason Harris. He's kind of got his hands full. Tuning a Pro 632 car with Jamie that they just brought out. And then they are so focused on a world championship. Look at that. Beautiful run. 362 with a 5 for Jason Harris. 206.39 the speed. So that will end out qualifying. Our screen changed on us. I'm not going to be able to give you the whole rundown. I do apologize on that. So we just got word from our top end safety crews. There's a little bit of precipitation down there at the top end of the racetrack, so we're going to put them on hold. Just a very, very light rain that they are getting all the way at the top end. Bring out some equipment onto the racing surface and go to work on that, trying to maintain it. Hopefully pass over rather quickly, and we continue on here in opening round of qualifying today.
The world's quickest pro mods to the wildest radial cars out there.
Winning doesn't just happen. You have to engineer it. You have to test it and make it better than it was.